Welcome to the Andy Ruther Show. Here is your host, Andy Ruther.
Welcome back to another episode of the Andy Ruther Show. That is me, your host, Andy Ruther. I'm feeling good, guys. I'm feeling good about today's show because we have our first ever guest. Yeah. You guys have asked, hey, are you ever going to have a guest? You going to bring somebody in? And I figured the easiest guest to bring in would be somebody I live with. So later in the episode, my partner in crime, my girlfriend, my lady, my baby mama, Brittany, will be joining us for a huge announcement. So stick around for that. That is a must. By the way, I don't like the term baby mama. I just want to get that out of the way. I don't like it because baby mama to me insinuates it's just the mother of your kid and you're not involved, right? Like you're not a couple, but we're a couple. So when people say baby mama, since her and I aren't married, I never like it. Like I never use that. I just used it as a joke right there, but I never use the term baby mama. My brother will say it a lot. He'll refer to Brittany as baby mama. I'm like, I'm not a rapper. Like the rappers can say baby mama. White suburban Andy Ruther living in Cincinnati. It's not baby mama. So then what do I say? What do I say? Partner? Partner sounds weird too, right? Every time we fill something out on a form, it's like, it's just marital status, married or single. I'm like, can I check other? like, what am I? I'm other? I'm not single. I'm not married. She's just my partner. I don't know. You figured in 2024 they would have changed that at this point, but they haven't. Give me a status. We have 1 million different genders, 3,465 genders, but I don't have a status for my relationship. Anyway, she will be on the show. Very excited about that. And we actually pre-recorded that last week. So that will be later in the show. And I hope you guys enjoy that because I did. But I want to get some things out of the way first. I want to talk about something that's been bothering me probably the last 6 weeks. I've been holding on to. I had a little scare about my heart, and it kind of threw me in a tailspin. So recently, I knew 3 people that had heart attacks, and I think it planted that seed in my head, especially with my dad. In his history, he had multiple heart attacks. He had quadruple bypass surgery in 2006. And I think it started to play mind games with me that I started thinking in my own head, hey, is everything all right in your heart? Because obviously that's a serious issue. So that seed is planted. I had convinced myself I had some pain in my chest or a slight pressure. So I set up a doctor's appointment, right? Smart thing to do. I go see my primary care physician. I really like him. I see him and he says, look, man, if you want to feel better, we're going to do an EKG and we'll get you on the treadmill for a stress test. Plus, with my family history and I'm in my early 40s, it can't hurt, right? So I do the EKG test in office. Everything's fine. But he wants to get me on the treadmill for the stress test. And for those of you who don't know, the stress test, they put you on a treadmill, they hook you all up, and they're going to read all the, I don't know, the not the beats of my heart, but they're going to be checking everything out. And you go full capacity, right? You go about 10 minutes hard on a treadmill, and they keep increasing it by levels and higher and higher and higher. So I do that, and then I'm going to pull this up. And then I get a thing in my chart about my test results. And this is what it says. So I get the stress test results. Sorry, let me pull this up here. Of course, no internet right now. This is perfect. Hold on. But basically, I tested positive as I try to get this. I tested positive for something called ischemia, which could be a potential blockage or a partial blockage of an artery in your heart, from what I understand. So I get that I do the test on a Thursday. I get that on a Friday. And then I start trying to Google what this means, and I'm freaking out, all those things. And I don't hear anything, right? So I wait 2 days, and then I get this message from my doctor on July 7th. Mind you, it's a Sunday night at 10:30. And for the record, I really like my doctor. I really like my primary care, but he definitely should not be sending this on a Sunday night. Even if he's reviewing everything, don't send this right before somebody might be going to bed. It says, Andy, looks like there may be some decreased oxygen flow to the heart with exercise based on our testing. This warrants a follow-up with a cardiologist. I placed a referral so that we can get you in soon. Okay, so now I'm freaking out, right? Again, family history, and then I see decreased oxygen flow to the heart when you exercise. So now my neuroticism is at a 10. And I don't know what to make of this. And I send him a follow-up message, and I'm basically asking, can I exercise? Yeah, but don't go too hard. Okay, well, what does that mean? Yeah, but don't go too hard. And then we're going back and forth, and that's a subjective question. What is going too hard? Your definition might be different than mine, all that. So I'm kind of in this waiting period, and I get a call 3 days later from the cardiologist office. The nurse practitioner calls me from the office, the nurse who works with the doctor, and he says the earliest we can get you in is 3 weeks. So my mind, I have a problem. A lot of times I go to worst case scenario when this stuff happens. So in my head, I'm thinking, shit, 3 weeks? I don't know if I can wait 3 weeks. And then we're talking, and I'm asking about the test, and he says, I don't know, there could be some sort of blockage. And he's saying things, to be honest, he shouldn't be saying. He should just say, I don't know. I've learned this with dealing with the medical profession, with the professionals. You just say, I don't know, or the doctor will go over this with you. He's talking about, possibly an angiogram, which is where they have to go in and put dye in your arteries, and they can see if there's a possible blockage, and it's a procedure. All those things are getting in my head because he's saying that. So for weeks, my mind has just been playing games on me. And at one point, I legit had like a panic attack, and I thought I had chest pain, and I was freaking out. And Brittany's like, you got to just sit down, man. You got to relax. You got to breathe. Because again, I just got all these things in my head, my dad's history, knowing people who've had heart attacks. All these things are just playing mind games on me. So long story short, I finally see a cardiologist on July 31st. And he said, we're going to bring you in for something called a stress echo test, which means they basically do the same thing. They put me on the treadmill, but what they do is they take kind of like an ultrasound of my heart. It's basically an ultrasound of my heart before I get on the treadmill and afterwards. That way they can actually see if there are any blockages and if everything is beating correctly. And if there's problems from there, then maybe I need an angiogram or something. So thank God I hear back last Thursday. Everything checked out. Everything looks good. But the truth is, it was like 3.5 weeks. Not even. No, it was 6 weeks actually. It was just 6 weeks of me freaking out, and probably I don't have to. I don't have to freak out like that, but I don't know. When it comes to your heart, I was freaking out. And the truth is, I wanted to talk about this earlier, but I almost kept thinking I was going to jinx it and I was going to have an issue. So I don't know, but that's in the past, and thank God. But I have such a distrust of the medical world, and in a lot of ways of just some things I went through with my parents, and also with Isla. I don't know if I ever told anybody this or if I said this on this podcast. When she was in the NICU, when she had to be rushed to the NICU when her temperature dropped a few hours after she was born, the nurse practitioner said a lot of stupid things she shouldn't have said. We're asking a million questions. Why is she in there? And she's saying, well, it could be anything. She could have some sort of, brain problem and things she should not have said. And the truth is, she got in big time trouble for that. But she was basically saying things kind of like this nurse practitioner that I dealt with from my cardiologist office. Less is more. And maybe I'm part to blame for asking a million questions and wanting to know answers. But this was all kind of stressful for 6 weeks until I got the okay. And then finally, last week, I get the results. Everything's good. And I can exercise fully again. I can swim as hard as I want. I can go running, which was a great relief for me. It was a great relief, to be honest. I've been lazy on my workouts, but when you're told you can't work out, I'm the type of person, it makes me want to work out more. So I need to get back on that. And then I went on Friday and I did sensory deprivation, which was real good. Some of you might know, I used to do this a lot when I lived in Venice. I'd go in something called a float lab, a sensory deprivation tank. It's about a foot of water full of Epsom salt. You're in this little box. It's like a coffin, to be honest. And you go in naked and you float, and there's no sight. You can't see. There's no sound. And you just get lost in your thoughts. And they have one here in Cincinnati, and I did that on Friday. And Friday night was the best I've slept in months. And every time I do sensory deprivation, I always feel better, and I always sleep better that night. And it's almost like a purge to just get everything out of your system. And I think I'm going to start doing that again. A lot of teams do that now. A lot of teams have a tank. Professional sports teams have it on their center because it's just, again, a good way. There's been all these proven studies what it does. It's great for people with PTSD, people who've had traumatic life experiences, war vets, athletes. It's great for healing. So I did it, and the truth is I felt really good. So I'm ready to get back on it. I'm ready to exercise, ready to start doing that. And I just want to feel better, I always feel my best if I exercise, if I write my thoughts, if I eat good, if I set up therapy sessions, if I do sensory deprivation, all those things. So I personally, I just want to do those more, and I think I will, especially with the big announcement we have coming here in a few minutes. So I just want to get back on that. But yeah, guys, I don't know. This is almost like therapy for me. I just was freaking out about the damn heart thing. And mostly that's probably in my head. But it just sucks when they talk about not enough oxygen going to your heart. And you're like, what does that even mean? So I don't know. Let's talk about something a little more lighthearted. I saw this article today in the Wall Street Journal. So I can be old man yell at clouds for a few minutes after I saw this article. It's titled, "Fewer Teens Want to Drive. It's Changing How They Spend." Young drivers point to high prices for cars and insurance combined with other viable options from public transportation to rides for moms and dad. So basically, the article talks about how Gen Zers aren't getting their license because car insurance is very expensive. Cars are the most expensive they've ever been. But that's not what stuck out to me, because mommy and daddy can take them everywhere. I mean, I don't want to sound like an old head, but the fuck is wrong with you guys? You want your parents taking you? And the stats back it up. It's pretty crazy. Listen to this. The percentage of 19-year-olds with a driver's license in 1983 was 87.3%. The percentage of 19-year-olds with a driver's license in 2022 was 68.7%. So in about 40 years, it dropped by 20%. That's a huge decrease. And some of these stories that people share or personal anecdotes in this news story, to be honest, I find kind of pathetic. So they talk about their parents driving them, and let me pull up some of these kids. They talk about, okay, this girl says, "I was always sure of myself when I did things. Not driving was one of the first times I wasn't." So she wasn't sure about driving herself. And then she says, where's the quote? Somebody talks about how it's so scary. I don't know. It's somewhere in here. Scared? Like, here's the thing with this generation. You guys don't want to do anything. Like, you only get stronger when you got to face things you don't want to do. That's what I've learned, right? So like when you do shit you don't want to do, that's what makes you a stronger person. But the thought of being scared to drive is the complete opposite of my generation and generations before me who viewed it as freedom, right? The minute you turned 15 and a half and you could get your temps and then you get your license at 16, that was freedom. The thought of having mom and dad take you places is just wild to me. And it talks about it in this article. All these kids just want their parents carting them around. And basically, they're scared to drive. Now, the cost is one thing. I get that's never been more expensive. Okay. Just get your license. You don't have to buy a car. But it's crazy to me to think that you wouldn't want to get your license. There's nothing stopping you from wanting to get your license. And I think that's a problem with this generation in general. They just want to be buried in their phone. They want to be buried in video games. They don't want to challenge themselves. You only grow when you get uncomfortable. All the times in my life where I've been uncomfortable, I've only come out a better person. And I'll tell you what, little Miss Isla, I know you're a year and a half old. You're getting your damn license. My girl's getting her license. I'm not letting her sit around and not get her license. I mean, it's crazy. Again, and I read these stories and they talk about people that are just scared and that they'd rather walk or they'd rather have their parents take them. It's nuts to me. It's and I put it on the parents, I'll be honest. You just tell your kid to drive. Be an adult. Like that's part of being an adult. You got to learn to drive. I'm not taking my daughter to work when she's 18 years old. I'm not taking her to school. Right? Like I went to a high school about 30 to 40 minutes away, and there was enough kids in my area that my parents just were like, you can find a ride. Go find a ride. Figure it out. Or if somebody couldn't bring me all the way back to my house, my parents would say, is there somewhere in the middle I can meet to get you before I had my license? Do I just sound like an old head bitching? I don't know, maybe. I just think it's such a generational thing that these kids, they don't want to be uncomfortable, and the safe spaces and all that. And I think about myself. Okay, here's a story. Here's a quick story. Talk about growing. So when I graduated from college and I decided to move to Las Vegas, when I got offered my first job, I didn't know a single person. I'd never even been to Las Vegas. I'd never been farther west than the state of Iowa, right? I was young and naive, but I was also ready to take chances. I had never rented a car. So I fly out to check out Las Vegas before I moved there. And I rented my car through Priceline. And I had no money. I just graduated college. I was waiting tables in St. Louis. So my money basically paid for rent and groceries. I didn't have any money. I was so young, naive, and stupid, I didn't realize when you rent a car, they withdraw a certain amount as a security deposit. So I over-withdrew right away. I thought what I was paying on Priceline was going to be the price for the car rental for 5 days or whatever it was. And I remember I went to get cash out and I had a negative balance in my account. And I'm in Las Vegas and I don't know a single person and I'm freaking out. I'm having basically a meltdown, as you guys can see with my heart stuff. I have these meltdowns where I'm like freaking out, being dramatic. I call my dad freaking out, and my dad was always cool. He was always cool and calm and level-headed. And I call him at his office and he's like, just relax. Just relax. I'll put money in your account. Now, I was fortunate enough to have that, and I know that, and I was lucky. He said, I'll put some in your account, offset it, you pay me back so that you don't have a negative balance. Just take a deep breath. You're going to be all right. You need to find a roommate. You need to check out the city, drive around, explore, go to the school that's offered you a job, see if you want to take it. And it was just a giant learning experience for me, feeling scared, but at the same time, it was exhilarating because here I was, this kid from Cincinnati, grew up in the Midwest my whole life, went to school in Missouri. I basically just know the Midwest, and I'm in Sin City, not knowing anybody, not knowing anything about the city of Las Vegas, to be honest, outside of casinos. But those few days, I just drove around the city. I found a roommate. I signed a contract, and about 3 weeks later, I drove across country on my own in a Toyota Corolla packed full of my stuff. And it just made me a better person. And I'm not saying you have to do that. And I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody. I'm just saying I put myself in an uncomfortable position to just grow, right? To be uncomfortable, to make me mature. Mature in some ways. I mean, I was completely drunk and idiot, immature still. But my point is, these kids who don't want to get their license, I just don't get it. Don't you want to explore? Don't you want to get away from mom and dad? Get out from under them? God, I sound like a boomer, don't I? Get your damn license, kids. Get out of my basement. I can already see myself like 16 years from now. I was like, whatever, Dad. I'm going to be watching Real Housewives of... At that point, it'll be like Real Housewives of Mars. Like, Real Housewives of Mars. Andy Cohen will be flying a space shuttle to do the reunion shows. Isla will be like, I'm watching this with Mom. I'm like, get your ass out there and go to driver's ed. It's funny, you don't think about that stuff until you get older and then start having kids. Which is a nice segue. I'm going to bring Brittany on, and we have a few things to talk about. I'm very happy to announce we have our very first guest on the Andy Ruther Show, coming in for a huge moment. You've heard me talk about her so many times on the Andy Ruther Show, on Dirty Sports. She does exist. The one and only Brittany.
Hello.
How you feeling?
Thrilled to be here.
You a little nervous?
No.
You seem a little... You're not
I
nervous?
feel like you seem a little nervous.
Well, I am.
Your eye's starting to squint.
Ooh. It's the brain injury eye.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things we can blame on that.
So, Brittany, you're here because we have a huge announcement.
Yes, correct.
You are pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2.
Yes.
And I have no clue what the gender of our baby is.
But I do.
And you've known for about a month.
Yes.
Have you been dying?
Not really, actually.
Really?
I mean, I've already picked the name. I've got everything figured out. You don't really have a lot of input, so.
You picked the name?
Yep.
I don't get a say?
No.
Why don't I get a say?
Because we won't agree.
Well, we both have to agree.
Okay, well,
This-
one step at a time.
This is 50-50.
Okay.
Have you told anybody else about the name?
Yeah,
Your mom.
I have.
You told your mom.
I did.
And what'd she say?
She likes it.
Okay. So I'll be honest, I have major butterflies right now.
I can tell.
Well, you know why? Because not that it hasn't been real. We've known since May 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that? It was May 30th.
Yes, I did.
Okay, it was May 30th when you found out you were pregnant. So we've known...
And then told you. So yes, I remember.
Okay, well, you announced it. You screamed from the top stairs.
Did I?
You did.
Okay.
You screamed that
Okay.
you were pregnant. So that was good news before we took Isla to daycare.
Yeah.
Before I took her to daycare. But regardless, May 30th, it's August 15th. Not that it's not real, but the minute I hear a gender, it's really real.
Well, then take a bite of the Cody.
Well, hold on. We got to tee up what we're doing here. So we're doing the most Cincinnati gender reveal ever. Mm-hmm. We have a Gold Star cheese coney. And basically, if I bite in and taste a hot dog, it's a boy. Mm-hmm. And if it's just bun, chili, and cheese, girl number 2.
Correct.
Now, for people who don't know, they load the cheese on the cheese conies in Cincinnati. So you really can't tell. I feel like I'm delaying this.
You 100% are. Like, just do it already.
Oh, I'm so nervous. Why am I so nervous? I think I know. Should I just do it?
Yeah.
I'm like 90% sure. Okay.
Find out.
All right.
You have to pick it up gingerly, though. Like,
Okay.
you can't,
Okay.
you know.
There's an art form to this. All
Well,
right.
yeah, you can't, like, squeeze it. It will give it away.
Okay. All right.
Does it feel heavy?
I can't tell just yet.
Okay.
I knew it. I knew it.
Is there a hot dog?
There's no hot dog. Another girl. I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Another girl.
I knew it.
For you. 3 of us.
Man. I'll tell you what. You know how much I love being a girl dad. But I'll tell you what. We're going to have a third now. We got to try this again. I'm not saying definitely, but like, you know, a boy would be nice at some point. But it's nice that she's going to have a sister.
Yeah. The built-in best friend.
Ooh. Yeah. I know. I get emotional. You know, I get emotional over everything. Yeah. What's the name?
Listen, I learned from
your dad.
from Isla, that if you tell people the name, they're going to give you their opinion, and it's better to just keep it to yourself, because otherwise you'll talk yourself out of names. That happened to us several times.
Can we share the one story about your dad? It's kind of funny.
It's kind of offensive.
So
So I don't really think we should.
Who are we offending?
The Italians.
The Italians don't care.
Okay.
You liked Frankie.
I did.
You liked Frankie, but your dad said he knew too many fat Italian girls named Frankie.
No.
That's what he said.
No, he did not.
That's what he did.
That's not at all what he said. He said, and I quote, "I know too many fat fucking Frankies from down in Newport."
Okay. See? That's what he said. There we go. You're right. So Frankie was out. So you're definitely not telling your dad.
No.
This is a lot better, by the way, doing it this way than like the last time you slid a note under the door when I was recording a podcast.
There was no tact, yeah.
And I forget, did that say the gender on there?
No. I think I drew a stick boy and a stick girl, and then I put a question mark.
What's going on in your head?
I'm excited.
Are you happy to have another girl? Did you want a boy?
I would have been happy either way.
Yeah.
But one thing you should be happy about is I won't have to buy like any clothes. So
I've already thought
you're
about
off the
that.
hook there.
I've already thought about that.
Their birthdays are so close to each other. Everything will be in season. So
The thought of Isla being the big sister, oh my God.
I know. Because she definitely has second child energy, which makes me a little scared.
What does that mean?
They say the second child is like a lot more wild, crazy,
More crazy
daring. That's what I'm saying.
more crazy than Isla?
That's what I'm saying.
She's wild.
I know.
I already told you I knew it was going to be a girl because you tipped your hand a couple times.
I don't think I did, but okay.
Because you said to me, would I be mad either way?
I didn't say mad. I said, would you be disappointed?
Disappointed. Okay. You said, would I be disappointed? So I knew that to me told me, okay, it's a girl.
Then why did you make me do this?
Brittany, because we needed confirmation on the Andy Ruther show.
Okay.
I got to ask you something though. How come you've never listened to the show?
Because I live with you. No offense.
None taken.
Like,
But you've never listened at all.
I haven't.
Can I make a confession?
Sure.
So, I know people are going to give me hell for this. One night I had your phone and I was just going to give the show 5 stars on Spotify. You were...
Oh, I did that for you. I didn't listen, but I gave you a rating.
Not on Spotify.
Oh, is that the one where you have to listen?
Yeah, because it said you have to listen first.
Okay. Well, then I did on Apple.
And then I was like, wow, she's never listened. That showed she had never listened. This is the 15th episode. You've never listened.
You've done 15 already?
This will be the 15th episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No interest at all.
It's your thing. It's your
I only
thing.
say lovely things.
I doubt that. I doubt that.
Can you believe we met about 3 years ago And now we're having our second kid.
No.
Life comes at you fast.
Sure does.
But I'm handling this much better.
Much better.
How mad were you the first time you told me you're pregnant?
Mad is not the word.
Disappointed?
Very upset.
Are you still mad at me about that or disappointed?
No. But your reaction was not good.
Well, it's because I like to control things.
I'm pretty sure you like said something about the plumbing. Like
We had
it was
plumbing.
very weird.
We had plumbing.
Weird.
We had plumbing issues that night.
Yes. And I told you that we were gonna have a baby, and you like said something about the plumbing.
Well, because the guy just left.
And I just told you, like, arguably the biggest piece of news of your life, and
No, it wasn't.
you were talking about the plumbing.
It was the biggest piece of news.
Yeah.
But we needed some plumbing
You did
work
much
done.
better this time.
I'm doing much better. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I do. You know, I'm already.
The bar was low.
The bar was. I'm already liking this idea that we don't have to buy new clothes.
Yeah.
I'm really
I'm
liking
sure you
that.
are.
Do you think you're only gonna have girls?
No,
You think you're gonna have a boy?
I do.
You want to have a third?
I'd like to have a healthy second first, but yeah.
Do you think all these girls are maybe kind of karma for maybe how I've been with girls sometimes in my life?
That's for you to judge, not me.
Okay.
That's not you.
So when are we getting married?
I don't know.
Where's that on your list right now?
It's not.
It's not.
No.
But you told me you wanted to be engaged before you had
Yeah, I would like a pretty ring. Big ring.
a big ring.
Yeah.
You guys better start leaving some more reviews and start listening. Spread the word. We need to get some money up in here. How's Isla going to react?
She's going to hate it.
Hate it, you think?
Yes. She's going to hate it.
She'll warm up at a certain point.
Yeah, after a while.
6 months? Until she can play.
Yeah, I was going to say. Until she has a playmate, she's not going to like it.
She's going to be so bossy.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell me the name off camera?
I will tell you off camera.
Tonight?
Yeah.
What percentage are you on wanting that name?
100.
100? The full name?
Yes.
Well, I think I have
And I don't think you're going to, I think you're going to fight me on it.
the first name or middle name.
The first.
Cleopatra?
No. I'll tell you later.
Rochelle?
No.
Monica?
The end.
Well, Brittany, I think you're going to come back on the show at some point.
Maybe.
You should.
Okay.
Maybe you can.
Maybe I'll come back before I listen to an episode.
Okay. Well, Brittany, thanks for doing this. Should
welcome.
we hug it out, my love? Should we hug it out?
No.
Come on, give me a hug.
You can give me a hug.
By the way, no.
You
no,
come to me.
I love you. No onions next time, please.
I forgot about
No
that.
onions.
Listen, I was
No onions.
and no hot dogs.
You told them to load up the cheese, didn't you?
I did. I literally, once they gave it to me, I smelt it in the car. I was like, oh, fuck.
For a split
Got
second.
onions on it.
For a split second.
Put onions on it.
Yeah. For a split second, I was like, there's a dog in there. And then I was like, I think that I was like, there's a dog in here.
Yeah.
So I'm having a second kid. It's exciting and terrifying. It's like I talked about earlier in the show. You know, sometimes you got to go through things to become better. And even with the second kid, I was a little apprehensive at first. And luckily that changed. So I'll just give you guys the full disclosure. Brittany really wanted to start trying basically when Isla turned 1, which was mid-February. And I was given pushback. And I think as a man, a lot of it is I just think financially. And that's not how you should be. I don't think that's how you should be, but I just know how expensive kids are, and I know how expensive everything is right now with the economy and inflation and all that. My mind instantly went there. And it shouldn't, and that's wrong, to be honest. It shouldn't go there. So in my head, I was like, we're going to start now. You want to start now? And you know who convinced me, not even convinced me, but gave me some good insight was my therapist. And normally he doesn't push me. That's not how he is as a therapist. I like that. He gives me his feedback, he gives me his insight, and I talk to him at this point. He's still in California, probably once a month, if that, at this point. But he said to me something. He said, the best gift you can give your daughter, Isla, is a best friend for life, which was pretty powerful for me to hear. Because for some reason, I wasn't thinking like that. And when he said a best friend for life, I thought, wow. And I think after losing my parents and having my brothers, that was even more profound for me, because I'm not going to be here one day. Brittany's not going to be here one day. And if Isla can have a sibling and they can lean off each other, that's pretty awesome. And just a best friend to grow up with. And now it's going to be a girl. They'll be about 2 years apart. And I think that's amazing. And I know family relationships ebb and flow. They might not always be close. They might not always be best friends, but it's a pretty awesome gift to give your first kid someone else. So after that therapy session, I was like, okay, it's go time. It's go time. Let's do it. I'll try to put the other stuff out of my head, the money, the cost of daycare, all those things. By the way, that's a business to run. If you want to make money, run a daycare. It's insane what daycare costs. It's truly insane. Like, we're going to save money when she starts school and goes to a Catholic school. We'll save a lot of money, which is kind of crazy to think you're saving money when she starts a full education at a Catholic school versus daycare. That's how expensive daycare is. But anyway, I was pretty geeked when Brittany told me she was pregnant. And she's trying to act like she doesn't remember. She yelled down from the stairs. She was taking pregnancy tests all the time. And I wasn't too worried. Maybe it's because I have some machismo or I'm being cocky. I was like, you're going to get pregnant. Like, don't you? It's in my genes. Like, my dad, rest in peace, Walt, 5 boys. Well, he's more of a man than me. I'm just pumping out girls. 5 boys. I've gotten you pregnant before. Like, I'm not too worried. So she yelled down and we were both geeked and we wanted to hold on and wait until she reached the second trimester because a lot of complications can happen. So we waited until the second trimester, which is 14 weeks. And then we started telling people. And yeah, I think this week she'll be 16 weeks, I think. I don't know. She's like 4 months pregnant. She's inching closer and closer to halfway there, which, in my head, I'm like, okay, I have this many days until my sleep sucks again. Like, that's how I think. I'm like, I have this many days until my sleep is just wrecked. And then I'm going to have 2 under 2 for basically a couple weeks. And hopefully Isla's potty trained. Yes, I hope she's body trained. I hope she's potty trained by then. But yeah, it's exciting. And I honestly, I don't know if I really wanted a boy. I love having a girl. And I love that she'll have a sister. I think that's nice. Not that they couldn't be close if it was a boy, but I just love two girls within 2 years apart, and then they can do all their stuff together and go shopping with mom. It's really nice. And I think she's going to love it once she gets past the part of not being the only kid. So it's really exciting. Roscoe's going to hate it. I'll tell you that much. Our dog's going to hate it. Another screaming baby. He was real sweet at first with Isla. But now when she's crying or loud, he's just like, fuck that. And he just walks out of the room. You know what's crazy though? He knows she's pregnant. Every time she's been pregnant, he knows. He gets extra cuddly with her at night, extra protective of Brittany. Dogs are so amazing. It's amazing that he has that sixth sense. He knows there's a little kid in there. Which I also find hilarious because he's protective and then the kid will come and then he'll be probably annoyed with all the screaming and the crying, but it's exciting. It's exciting, and I never thought I'd be here just a few years ago, having a family, building a family, and I can't believe this, even thinking more kids as I look towards the future and just enjoying being around them. It's a great feeling. It truly is. And I'm glad Brittany came on the show. I think she had some apprehension about coming on. I did hold her at gunpoint for the record. You guys, I don't know if you saw that in the video, but there was a gun off screen. I had a hitman saying, get on camera. You will do this announcement using a Gold Star cheese coney. The most... the most Cincinnati thing we could have thought of, which actually was Brittany's idea. It wasn't my idea. She told me, I don't know what to do for a gender reveal. What if we did the cheese coney one, which I've seen some people do on TikTok. So that was all Brittany's idea, actually. And we had fun with it. But I knew. She tipped her hand. She'd be a terrible poker player. She'd just be terrible. And she tipped her hand a few times. So she knew for about a month. I think it was about a month, the gender of the baby. Now, I wanted to go the whole time. I wanted to go the whole time without knowing the gender of the baby. She couldn't do that. She also said, what about clothes? Which, whatever. We want to know if it's a boy or girl to prepare. Clothes, how the nursery's going to look, all those things, which I kind of get, but it'd be kind of fun. You know, you figure out right at birth, oh my God, it's a boy, it's a girl. So yeah, more diapers, fun stuff. Can't wait for that. But here's the thing about girls. Boys are savages, right? I see in daycare, like the boys in her daycare, they're just animals. They're just savages. So having another girl, I definitely don't hate. And she's wild. Isla's wild, but boys are next level. So I'm excited. We're excited, and she's due. I think she's due February 7th, but it'll probably be maybe a week before that. We're kind of projecting. So yeah, not that much time, guys. So excited about that. Well, we got through the episode. Thanks to Brittany for coming on. I want her to come on more, so let me know, guys. Let's get her on the show more. Let's get her to open up more. She's a ball buster. She's pretty funny, so I think she'd be a good addition to occasionally come on the Andy Ruther show. So definitely let me know about that. We have a hotline, 859-935-0078. Give the hotline a call if you have any questions, comments, feedback. It's all there, guys. And drop those reviews. I'm always checking those reviews. Appreciate every review you leave. So drop those on Apple and Spotify. All right, guys, that's the show. Thanks for sticking with me. We'll be back next week. Have a great weekend.